Hello, in this video we look at Ratana Sutta, verse 6. Ye puggala atta satam pasattha chattari etani yugani hunti. Te dakhineya sugatassa savaka ete sudinnani mahaphalani. Idampi sanghe ratanam panitam etena satchena suvattihutu. And now with the text up. Ye puggala atta satam pasattha chattarietani yugani hunti. Te dakhineya sugatassa savaka ete sudinnani mahaphalani. Idampi sanghe ratanam panitam etena satchena suvatti hotu. Here we have the relative pronoun nominative plural, masculine ye, which people, meaning those people who, um, meaning, of course, the eight, ye pugala atta, atta means eight. The Sanskrit ashta, as often happens, a sh or a sh in Sanskrit turns up in Latin as a k. So octo, ashta, atta, octo in Latin. Through the Germanic line, the sh became a ch. We have acht. In English, used to be echt. We now just pronounce it as eight, though we still retain the GH in the spelling. So those eight people, meaning here, of course, eight kinds of people. So from the Sanskrit, pudgala, and Pali puggala, those eight kinds of people, satam pasatta. Pasatta, I haven't done a note on it, bear with me there, it will turn up in due course, just means praised. Praised satam, that is a genitive plural of it's the short form of the present participle. And it means of the good. In Sanskrit, it would be satam with a long R, satam of the good. In Pali, satam of the good. The genitive is sometimes used as an instrumental. You find that in biblical English as well, beloved of God, where it is God's beloved or loved by God, beloved of God. That genitive turns up there. And here we see the same idea. Satam, praised of the good, meaning praised by the good. Chattarietani yugani hunti. Hunti, they are these four pairs. So the eight people praised by the good, they are the eight people who constitute these four pairs of people. Yuga, from our root yuj to join. Let me turn up iPad for you. We have the oops. No, what's happened? Come on. Ah, here we are again. We're going up. So the root yuj to join. That's the one from which is a verbal noun. We get a well-known verbal noun yoga, which is the same yoga that's come into English. You can make an alternative verbal noun with a short u. It's a neuter. The yuga, it means a pair. It also means an era, actually, the Kali Yuga, the Dark Age. But in this context, it means a pair. And there are four pairs of types of people. That's the Chattari etani, these, for these pairs. In, in English, we say these four pairs. In Pali, you tend to put the number first, for these pairs. So chattari etani yugani kunti, so hunti. So these eight people, types of person praised by the good, form or constitute these etani chattari yugani, these four pairs, standard pairs or types. Te dakhineya sugatassa savaka. So let's reorder these words. Te savaka, those disciples, sugatassa, of the sugata, dakhineya, are worthy of honor or offerings. Let me turn up this. It's from a root meaning the right hand. Copy. I'm just bringing up the. So I was just finding the right place in the explanatory glossary. So this dakineya, we have it in our Itipiso chant. Ahuneyo, pahuneyo, dakineyo. It's from this root daksha, which originally meant skillful, dexterous, suitable. The original meaning was most probably the right, as opposed to, as in right and left. And then skillful derived from that, as indeed in Latin, the Latin word left and right are sinister, dexter, and from dexter just mean right as in the right hand side, we get the word dexterous, skillful. So that extension of meaning survives into modern English. Then an adjective derived from daksha, dakshina, right or southern, straightforward. And then by extension, that tended to mean something good and auspicious as well. Again, this reflects in the Latin. Originally, sinister in Latin simply means the left hand. And then, by an extension of meaning, it acquired the meaning that that same word has in modern English. Sinister simply means left-handed in Latin, or the left hand. Conversely, this dakshina came to connote in Sanskrit everything that was the opposite of sinister. Everything was good, auspicious, and nice. And then the feminine form, the dakshina, meant a prolific cow. And then something you would give to a Brahmin priest who'd performed an important ritual sacrifice, for example, for the family or for a ruler, would be given a cow, or indeed many cows. And then by extension, this dakshina, the gift of this auspicious cow, came to mean any kind of gift given, so particularly a reverential gift. And then it formed from there the future passive participial adjective, gift worthy. That would be said dakshiniya. And that became, as you'd have expected to see dakiniya in Pali. In fact, it became dakineya, a slight anomaly. You'd have expected to see iya. So dakineya is worthy of reverential offerings. And that's the same dakineya that we see um, in our Itipiso chant, Ahuneyu Pahuneyu Dakineyo. So that is the origin of that word, so worthy of reverential offerings. Let me go back to, oops, where we were. Now the savaka is from the root shru, meaning to hear or to listen. I will just explain that for you. Oops. Root shru, to hear. Incidentally, when it came through into Greek, it lost the r, but acquired an a. So the Greek, which we have aku, as in acoustics. It's actually ultimately from that same word. So shruta is the past participle, a regularly formed past participle, root shru, atta shruta. In Pali, this just becomes sutta, evam me suttam, thus have I heard. Evam me suttam, thus by me heard. Now, one who hears or one who listens from that same root with the strengthening of the u, the vriddhi, becomes shravaka, a hearer, a listener, and by extension, the disciple of a teacher. It goes back from the days when these teachings were all oral. And so Sanskrit shravaka becomes in Pali, by regular phonetic mutation, savaka. We get savaka sangho, the sangha, the community of savakas, of hearers, meaning disciples. So te savaka sugatassa, those disciples of the sugata, of the well-gone one, dakineya, are worthy of reverential offerings. Ete sudinani mahapalani. So dinani, dinna, is the past participle of the root da. It's an irregular past participle. From da, you would have expected to see data. Let me call up the iPad again. So root da, to give, of course, from which we get the verbal noun dana, giving. You would expect to see, just remind you, when I write an asterisk, I'm deliberately writing an incorrect form that doesn't exist, just by way of illustration. You would have expected to see past participle data, which is what it's become in Latin, isn't it? Datus, datum, data, which we have as data in English, things given. But in fact, it's not data, it's dinna, so irregular. Dinna, given. And so adinna, that which is not given, the ungiven, as in adinna adana, the ungiven taking, the taking of what is not given. Here we see, in this verse, we see the word used in the neuter plural, dinani. That means things given, therefore gifts. So gifts, etesu, among those people. You will very often find in Pali, and the same applies in Sanskrit actually, that where you are giving gifts, if you're giving something to a specific person, the person I am giving to you, he is giving to her, you will tend to find the dative case used, giving to, where, however, you are giving offerings not to a specific person, but as it were, to a community as a whole, you very often find that the locative is going to be used. You're making a gift among them. In other words, you're placing your gift among them for them all to share, not a specific gift to a specific person, but gifts to that community. So that accounts for the locative, etesu. If it were to specific people, you tend to find the genitive slash dative etesum, but it's etesu, the locative, among them. So gifts among them, so gifts given within that group of people, mahapalani, are of great fruit. That's from pala, meaning a fruit, cognate with the Latin fructus, palfra, and our English word fruit is from that same root, ultimately the same Indo-European root. And normally you would have expected to see, if something is of great fruit, you would expect to see mahapala, maha with a long a, pala with a single p. Because in Sanskrit, it begins, there's no consonant cluster. It's simply the aspirated palam, identical in Sanskrit and Pali, meaning fruit. So you'd have expected to see mahapalani, but you sometimes find, and there's no etymological justification for it. I've done a note here. Sometimes in compounds, the first compound of a following word is doubled, even though there's no etymological justification. So we would have expected, as I said, to see Mahapalani. Okay, it's changed to Mahapalani. You see it also in a word, Mahadana, Dana. iPad again. Dana meaning wealth. Nothing to do with Dana. Dana, aspirated D in short, Dana, wealth. And as somebody of great wealth, you would have expected to see Mahadana. And in Sanskrit, that's what you'll always see. Pali also allows the form, it allows Mahadana, but you will, I think, more commonly, you've certainly seen, I think it's more common to see Mahadana with the A of Maha shortened and the single doubled, Mahadana, in the same way as Mahapala, Mahapala. So I say only Pali does that. It's not permitted in Sanskrit. So it's Mahapalan. This is an adjective, Maha, followed by a noun, making making a compound adjective. In fact, this is a bahubihu, bahuvrihi, a possessive adjective, meaning having great fruit, being of great fruit. So if say great fruited, we might say in English to invent a word, means they are of great fruit. In colloquial English, we just say they're very fruitful. So things given, gifts given, dinani te sumapalani, gifts given among them are of great fruit, meaning, of course, here a karmic fruit, karmic result. You'll often see by the pala in the Buddhist texts is, you see it in Sanskrit as well, has the meaning of the fruit of an action, meaning the consequence of an action done, be it good or bad. So I'll do a quick analysis once again. So which 8 people, meaning those 8 people who ye pugala atta satam pasata, who are praised, satam, of the good, meaning by the good, those 8 kinds of people who are praised by the good, etani chattari yugani hunti they are, or they comprise, etani, these chattari, neuter form, 4, yugani, pairs of type, pairs of people. Te savaka sugatassa, those disciples, literally hearers, sugatassa, of the Blessed One, dakineya, are worthy of, in Sanskrit, dakshina, worthy of reverential offerings. Dinani etesu, things given, gifts, etesu, among them, mahapalani, are of great fruit. And again, the refrain, idam pisanghe ratanam panitam etena satchena suvatyotu. So I'll read it through again. Ye puggala atta satam pasattha chattari etani yugani hunti. Te dakhinaya sugatassa savaka ete sudinnani mahapalani. Idampi sanghe ratanam panitam etena saccena suvatti hutu. One last time. Ye puggala atta satam pasattha chattari etani yugani hunti. Te dakhinaya sukatassa savaka ete sudinnani mahaphalani. Idampi sanghe ratanam panitam etena saccena suvatti hutu. And that's it on this video.